Not only am I losing my family this side of the camera, and I've known them for an awful long time. Yeah, I miss them terribly.
In May 2012, just months before he died, Bill Tarmey sat down for an interview with ITV Granada. They asked him about leaving Coronation Street after 31 long years. His answer was blunt, raw, and heartbreaking. "If this hadn't happened, they would have had to drag me out of there screaming," he said. "It was a wonderful bloody job, especially for an old coffin dodger."
There, yeah, there.
Tears?
Oh, lots, yeah.
Everywhere?
Oh, snot and everything, no.
Oh, we know something.
But what was the "this" he was talking about? For 2 years, the public had believed Bill left because of his own health. He'd suffered heart attacks, strokes, bypass surgeries. He'd been a lifelong smoker with breathing problems that made every scene a battle. That would have been reason enough for anyone. But that wasn't why he left. The real reason was hidden from the public until much later, and when the truth finally came out, it revealed a father's love that was stronger than 3 decades of playing Britain's most beloved soap character. Bill Tarmey was never supposed to be an actor. Born William Piddington in Ardwick, Manchester, in April 1941, he grew up in a working-class world that didn't produce television stars. His father, William Sr., was killed in 1944 while driving an ambulance at the Battle of Arnhem during the Second World War. Bill was just 3 years old. His mother, Lillian, remarried shortly after to their next-door neighbor, Bob Cleworth. Bill adored his stepfather so much that in 1992, he changed his name by deed poll to Cleworth Piddington. When Bill left school, he followed his stepfather into the building trade. He became an asphalt spreader. Hard work, long hours, nothing glamorous about it. But Bill had another passion: singing. In 1968, at age 27, he made a decision that changed everything. He quit the building industry to become a nightclub singer and entertainer. To supplement his income, he started taking work as an extra in television shows. One of those shows was Coronation Street. He'd appear in the background of scenes at the Rover's return, playing darts, nursing a pint. Just another face in the crowd. Then, in 1976, at just 35 years old, Bill suffered a severe heart attack. A year later, he had a stroke. Most people would have packed it in. Bill kept going. He kept singing, kept taking extra work. In November 1979, Bill was called back to Coronation Street for what was supposed to be 2 episodes. A wedding scene. He'd play the husband of a character named Vera Duckworth, played by actress Liz Dawn. Vera was dragging her reluctant husband Jack to the wedding of Brian and Gail Tilsley. During filming, something funny happened. Liz Dawn stood too close to a heater between takes and set her dress on fire. Bill ended up on the ground, slapping her backside to get the flames out. That was their first day working together. The producers saw something. They brought Jack back for 8 more episodes in 1981, then again in 1982. By August 1983, Jack and Vera Duckworth were regulars on the street. They moved into number 9 with their wayward son Terry, and Britain fell in love with them. Jack and Vera weren't your typical soap couple. They bickered constantly. Jack was a lovable rogue who'd rather be at the pub than at home. Vera was a loudmouth with a voice that could shatter glass. But underneath all that fighting was something real. Love. Flawed, messy, completely authentic love. Critics compared them to Stan and Hilda Ogden, the previous iconic Coronation Street couple. But the Duckworths had something different. Where Stan had been more pathetic than lovable, Jack had a warmth to him. He'd never knowingly hurt anyone. He loved Vera, even if he didn't always like her. Bill Tarmey and Liz Dawn developed a friendship off-screen that mirrored the on-screen chemistry. They went on holidays together with their spouses on the QE2. They did theater shows together. Liz later said that the hardest thing about leaving Coronation Street was saying goodbye to Bill, who had become her best friend. For over 20 years, they were inseparable, on screen and off. The storylines kept coming. Jack's affair with barmaid Bet Lynch, their troubled son Terry selling his own baby for money, Jack and Vera buying the Rovers' return and becoming publicans. So through it all, Bill Tarmey brought something to Jack that you couldn't teach in drama school: authenticity. Bill had never been to drama school. He admitted in interviews that he felt out of his depth at first. "I spent the first 2 years being a sponge, taking everything in and saying very little," he said. "They were very kind to me because they knew that I'd come from variety shows and big bands. I hadn't come from acting." But that lack of formal training became his strength. Jack Duckworth wasn't performed, he was lived. Fans would stop Bill in the street and confront him about how badly he treated Vera. They couldn't separate the actor from the character. Bill would laugh it off. But it showed how real the Duckworths had become to people. Throughout his time on Coronation Street, Bill's health was a constant concern. In 1987, he underwent heart bypass surgery, quintuple bypass, 5 blocked arteries. He was back at work as soon as he could manage it. In 2002, he suffered another heart attack. This time, they fitted him with a pacemaker. The show even wrote it into a storyline to explain his absence. Bill also developed sleep apnea, which disrupted his breathing while he slept. The long hours on set became harder. Coronation Street could demand 5 to 6 day weeks, 12 to 16-hour days. If you were in a major storyline, it could go on for weeks without a break. Bill was a lifelong smoker. Despite his heart problems, despite the strokes, despite the breathing issues, he refused to quit. Liz Dawn had given up smoking after a 30-a-day habit that lasted 55 years. Bill kept going. When asked why, he said something that revealed his entire philosophy on life. "I could make it easier for myself if I gave up smoking. I could sit in a rocking chair, but that wouldn't be me. That would kill me sooner than the old ticker. If I die tomorrow, they'll have to prize the smile off my face because I've had such a good life." In 2006, when Bill turned 65, he announced he was thinking of retiring. The reaction was immediate. Fans wrote protest letters. They couldn't imagine Coronation Street without Jack Duckworth. Granada Television convinced both him and Liz Dawn to sign new contracts. But a year later, in 2007, Liz Dawn's health forced her hand. She'd been diagnosed with emphysema in 2004. By 2007, further complications meant she could no longer continue. On July 22, 2007, Granada announced that Vera Duckworth would be written out before Christmas. Vera Duckworth's final episode aired on January 18, 2008. The character died peacefully in her sleep at age 70 from heart failure. 12.5 million viewers tuned in. It was one of the most watched episodes in the show's history. For Bill Tarmey, it was devastating. He'd worked alongside Liz Dawn for over 30 years. She wasn't just a co-star. She was family. When you work with someone for so long, as we did, it becomes more than just work, Liz said later. Our families were close. After Vera's death, the question everyone asked was whether Jack could continue without her. Bill vowed to carry on. He'd just reached his 30th anniversary on the show. He wasn't ready to leave yet, but the workload became too much. From September 2009 onwards, Bill filmed on an episodic basis. The character of Jack moved away from Coronation Street to live with a friend named Connie Rathbone. He'd make occasional appearances at the Rovers or in the cafe, but he was no longer a daily presence. In 2009, Bill wanted to leave the show entirely. His health problems had become severe. He had breathing problems so serious that getting through scenes was a struggle. But the producers had a request. They asked him to stay until the show's 50th anniversary in December 2010. It would mark a historic milestone, and Jack Duckworth was one of the show's most iconic characters. They needed him there. Bill agreed. He'd stay until the anniversary. But then something happened that changed everything. In January 2009, Bill's son Carl was having a meal with his wife Sandra at their flat in Ashton-under-Lyne, near Manchester. Carl was 43 years old, a former publican, father of 3 children. He'd played semi-professional football in his younger days, and Bill had never missed a game. They were close, always had been. That day at lunch, Carl lifted his spoon to eat his soup, and he couldn't find his mouth. 4 days later, he was driving and couldn't find the gear stick. When he did, he kept putting the car in reverse. It felt like I was being hit by a bus, Carl said later. I thought, I am dying. Carl was referred to Hope Hospital in Salford. A brain scan revealed he'd suffered a seizure. Further tests showed the cause: a brain tumor, a glioma, malignant and aggressive. Carl needed immediate surgery, a 6-hour craniotomy where surgeons cut a flap out of his skull to access the brain. The biopsy results confirmed the worst. The tumor was aggressive. Carl was referred to the Christie Hospital in Manchester for 6 months of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. For Bill Tarmey, the world stopped. It was heartbreaking, he said later. I remember being at Carl's bedside saying to him, "Come on, son, we can come through this. We are lions." Then I'd go home and shout at God, "Why me?" I'm not a religious man, but I prayed. He'd sit up late into the night with his daughter-in-law Sandra. She'd say, "Don't you start crying," and I'd say, "Don't you start then." Then we'd both be crying. Bill and his wife Alma, who'd been married for 49 years, were devastated. But Carl's response floored them. When Bill first spoke to his son about the diagnosis, Carl just looked at him and said, "Dad, you know what? Shit happens." Bill was amazed. I mean, how brave is that? Carl's diagnosis happened in early 2009. At the same time, Bill was trying to continue working on Coronation Street, but he found it impossible. When Carl became ill, I'd be in scenes in the show and break down in tears, Bill admitted. I couldn't remember my lines. It got to the point when I couldn't think of anything else but Carl. He's 45, but he is my baby and always will be. Bill realized he couldn't do both. He couldn't be there for his son and maintain the demanding schedule of a soap opera. Even with his reduced role, it was too much. In his heart, Bill knew what he had to do, but it tore him apart. "I was on the show for 31 years and loved every second," he said. "I thought you'd have to drag me off the set kicking and screaming." On April 9, 2010, Granada Television announced that Bill Tarmey would be leaving Coronation Street. The official reason given to the press was Bill's declining health, and that was true to an extent. His breathing problems, his heart issues, they were all real. But the full truth about Carl's brain tumor wasn't revealed publicly. Not then. Bill wanted to protect his son's privacy. He wanted to keep that pain within the family. In his statement to the press, Bill said, "I've had the most amazing 30 years playing Jack. Because of him, I've made fantastic friends and traveled all over the world. I'll be sorry to say goodbye." It sounded like a man retiring because his body couldn't take it anymore. Most people assumed that's exactly what it was. But behind the scenes, Bill's departure was being accelerated. His health was declining faster than expected, and emotionally, he was spent. The producers agreed to move his final episode forward. Instead of December 2010 for the anniversary, Jack Duckworth would die in November. On November 8, 2010, Jack Duckworth's final episode aired. 11.64 million people watched. It was one of the most moving departures in soap opera history. The scene was simple. Jack had returned to number 9 Coronation Street for his birthday party at the Rovers. Afterward, he went home to his old house. He sat down in his armchair, the same chair where Vera had died, and he closed his eyes. In his final moments, Jack saw a vision. Vera. Liz Dawn had agreed to come back for this one scene. She appeared to Jack, younger, smiling, waiting for him. They embraced, they kissed, and then they danced. One last dance together before Jack passed away peacefully. Producer Phil Collinson explained the decision to bring Vera back. It's something I've heard a lot. People say, when my mother was dying, she saw my father. We're storytellers at the end of the day. Yes, it's Coronation Street, and yes, it reflects real life, but we're storytellers. Filming those scenes destroyed Bill. It was delightful and very moving, he said. It was a case of pass the hand towel. You know, filming those scenes was difficult. I'm leaving my other family. I've worked with all these people for 30-odd years, and it was impossible for me to act or watch the death scene and cut that off. Critics called it one of the most moving scenes ever seen in soap. The Guardian's Mark Lawson described Jack and Vera's last dance as a great piece of social realism. Jim Shelley of the Daily Mirror wrote, "It's a genuine shame that, after 31 years, Bill Tarmey is finally leaving Coronation Street. It's hard to think of a more popular or nicer character than Jack Duckworth." After leaving Coronation Street, Bill's life changed completely. For 31 years, he'd been getting up at 5:30 in the morning, putting the kettle on and reading his Coronation Street script. Now he still got up at the same time, but instead of going to work, he'd sit in the lounge and wait for Carl to come round. "Every day I just try to be there for Carl," he said. Carl's treatment continued. He had the occasional bad moment. He'd bump into things. Bill would joke that they'd buy him some shin pads. Carl's last scan showed that things hadn't gotten any worse. That was all that mattered. Doctors told Carl there was every chance he'd live for another 5 years, hopefully longer. It was a case of fingers crossed. Bill cherished every moment with his son. He'd missed so much during those years of working long hours on Coronation Street. Now he had time to just sit and talk. In March 2011, Bill finally revealed the full truth in an interview with Nigel Pivaro, who'd played his on-screen son, Terry Duckworth. Bill admitted that his son, Carl, had been diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2009. That was the real reason he'd left Coronation Street. Very few people knew that the reason Dad left the cast in 2010 was because of my diagnosis, Carl confirmed later. Bill became a patron of the charity Brain Tumor Research. He worked tirelessly to raise funds and awareness. His family threw themselves into the cause. They wanted to improve diagnosis and increase government spending on research. It gave Bill purpose outside of acting. A way to channel his fear and his love into something that might help others. In May 2011, Bill revealed he needed to undergo further heart surgery. His health continued to decline, but he didn't regret leaving Coronation Street. He'd made the right choice. His son was still alive. They were spending time together. That was what mattered. Bill continued to live in Ashton-under-Lyne with his wife Alma. He stayed close to Liz Dawn and her husband Brian. "We've gone on holidays with Liz and her husband on the QE2 and done theater stuff," he said in one of his final interviews. Despite everything, Bill remained philosophical about his life. He'd come from nothing, from the streets of post-war Manchester, from the building trade, from singing in nightclubs for extra money. And he'd become one of the most beloved characters in British television history. He'd played Jack Duckworth for 31 years, longer than many people spend in any career. And in the end, he'd chosen his son over his legacy. That was the kind of man Bill Tarmey was. On November 9, 2012, Bill Tarmey died of a heart attack while on holiday in Tenerife with his wife. He was 71 years old. Exactly 2 years and 1 day after Jack Duckworth's on-screen death. The cast and crew of Coronation Street were devastated. A statement from the show read, "Our thoughts and prayers are with Bill's wife and soulmate Alai and their family at this very sad time." Bill Roach, who'd played Ken Barlow since the show began in 1960, said, "He was one of the top few legendary characters that the theater has produced. He was the downtrodden, lovable rogue who never got anything right, but was loved by everyone. This was down to Bill's skills as an actor. He had amazing comic timing and was a genuinely warm and wonderful human being." Liz Dawn was heartbroken. "When you work with someone for so long as we did, it becomes more than just work," she said. "Our families were close, and I'm devastated for Ali and his family. I'm totally bereft. He will always be remembered by everyone he came into contact with because he was such a kind and generous man." Bill's funeral took place in Ashton-under-Lyne. His wife Ali, his son Carl, and his daughter Sarah were among the mourners. So were many familiar faces from Coronation Street. Samia Gadi, Nigel Pivereau, Bill Roach, Liz Dawn, Alan Halsall, Julie Goodyear, and dozens more. A recording of Bill singing "The Wind Beneath My Wings" was played in the church. It was a fitting tribute to a man who'd spent his life singing and entertaining. Carl Piddington is still alive today, still undergoing treatment, still fighting. He later said, "Dad and Barbara Knox became very close over the years, and I know that she was a great support to him. Very few people knew that the reason Dad left the cast in 2010 was because of my diagnosis." Bill Tarmey's legacy isn't just Jack Duckworth. It's not just 31 years of brilliant performances. It's not just the millions of viewers who loved him. His legacy is the choice he made. At 71 years old, with his health failing, with a career that had defined his entire adult life, he chose his son. He walked away from Jack Duckworth because Carl needed him more. In the end, that's the story that matters most. Not why he left Coronation Street, but why he stayed as long as he did. And why, when it truly mattered, he put his family first. So what do you think? Did Bill make the right choice leaving when he did? Should Coronation Street have let him go sooner? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about Bill Tarmey's incredible life and career, hit that subscribe button. We'll be bringing you more untold stories from British television's golden age. Thanks for watching.